I'm Tim Sutton. I'm writing the music.
And there are quite a lot of pieces of music in here. I mean, how many of them were you familiar with before you sort of started working on it?
Only two. I had listened to Rossini Otello when I was doing my Tripos. So I'd heard the Rossini Otello because there's two famous operas of Othello. One is the Verdi, which is sort of more famous, and then there's a Rossini, which is sort of much. It's not obscure, but it's not done as much. It's great to get that flavour. It does really get a sense of what a late 19th century opera house might have sounded like. I think it is, because he's also using, and will be using in the incidental score, sort of things like Danse Macabre and things like that. It does really put you, as you say, right, absolutely in the late 19th century France. Yeah, and we're getting the Ruth Rogers to come and record some violin, and there's a little violin tune that the Fantôme plays at Christine's father's graveside. There are lots of lovely macabre Gothic touches like that, and the title theme's going to have a nice violin solo in it as well. But I think it was really exciting, certainly for me today, was to have one person playing the Fantôme and incredibly vocally versatile Linda doing two different roles, playing that, and it just to tie them all together. So finally, and I'm absolutely convinced, I've certainly in all the research I've done on the internet, this is the only version available that's got all of the correct opera sequences from the book in it. And it's so exciting. You can really see how much of a thrill it would have been as he was thinking. He didn't just chuck in any opera. No. He absolutely chose specific parts. Absolutely. Yeah. And the, Carlotta's text is, she talks about la voix solitaire, the solitary voice that comes to her. And it is in fact the solitary voice of the Fantôme who comes and imitates the toad and throws his voice into Carlotta's larynx, but even she believes that she's singing like a frog. I think the tricky one is the resurrection of Lazarus, because for years everyone thought it was Schubert, and I think a lot of people who read the book still think it's Schubert. Right. But it isn't. It's this, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, Loewe. Yeah. Loewe or Le or something like that. And when you hear it, you can absolutely hear why he chose that. I mean, it was a very popular piece at the time, but then sort of has faded and gone out of fashion now. Yeah, so you had to kind of, delve into the archives to find out what this possibly could be. I think I found it in Chicago University, Lord. Actually. Didn't find a score, did you? You'll have to busk that. Oh, gosh. So what were your thoughts when you were composing the theme music for the idea of a sort of solo violin and what that can bring, I think, and also this particular harmonic language which is sort of the interrelations between keys a minor third apart, which it has a very specific feeling, and you'd hear it in Richard Strauss and John Williams, who I think heard it in Richard Strauss, and it gives a very kind of particular feel. And I wanted it to sound like a waltz, but not to be quite a waltz. And then when I came to write the Dies Irae, which I was tearing my hair out as to, because my initial idea was like, if I could make the melody sound like that would be quite good, and make it sound like I'd meant it when I wrote the violin tune. But I decided it didn't sound right, and then I went through about sort of 3 or 4 different other versions before I came back and said, no, maybe it is a good. It's a real hard one, that Dies Irae. It took a lot out of me. It took the Fantôme 20 years to write, so I think you've done quite well. Yes, but he had to write the whole thing. I only had to write a kind of 3-line stanza. But yeah, getting that right, getting the Dies Irae right, made me think, yes, this title tune is good because it's sort of versatile and it can foreshadow the Fantôme. Well, I think what I like about it particularly is because the way the episodes are structured in the Phantom of the Opera, which is why it's so good to not use library music but to get a composer on board, is that you've read the script and you're a director as well as an actor, and you've got a feel for it. And at the end of each episode opens with this narration by Madame Giry, and then we are launched on the last line into the action, and that's bridged by the theme music. And I think when you've got this lovely haunting violin theme over it, but you've also got this fantastic sort of driving tempo thing going on underneath, which carries you in to the next scene, which is it's brilliant. I mean, I really like that. I haven't heard the end theme yet, so we'll see. That might be Agadoo. If only I could aspire.